In the program Kazakhstan International Vectors, International Relations, Political Views, Economic Solutions and Social Innovations. Further, we'll find out what is the new future for Kazakhstan, why are weed diseases so dangerous to humans, and whom Kazakhstan should agree with on the use of water resources. If you do not think about the future, you cannot have one. John Goldsworthy, English novelist and playwright. Water and food security of all inhabitants of the planet Earth necessarily have to be provided in the future. However, it is impossible to do it on a global scale. It is important to take care of water resources and crops locally. Our laboratory is developing promising lines of winter and soft spring wheat resistant to abiotic factors. The main ones are yellow, brown and stem rust of wheat. In addition, we're engaged in the study of diseases like leaf spots disease of septoriosis and pyrenophorosis. The fact that at present in the world production of wheat is one of the main components of global food security. The same is for food security in our country. But unfortunately, the limiting factors of wheat harvest are those diseases which I have already mentioned. This is a great scourge for wheat production because the yield and quality of grain can be reduced by 20 to 30%, which is a huge figure if you transform it into the framework of the country, especially if you look at what is happening in the world. In the years of war and confrontation between the USSR and the United States, stem rust was seen as a powerful biological weapon. And if such a racial disease can be created that can destroy the crop of wheat, it could cause any warring countries and do a great harm and could lead to starvation because these diseases can lead to the loss of 100% of yield. If the wheat grade has been affected by illness, the quality of both flour and wheat products is going to suffer. The content of wheat protein falls and the starch content rises. This dramatically reduces the amount of recyclable harvest and bread turns out less lush and tasteless. Our solutions can help to increase yields of wheat, to increase its ability to withstand abiotic stresses and thus to contribute to the food security of our country. To do this, we must not use traditional methods that have been used previously in this selection. They were associated with manual hybridization and then selecting, within 13, 15, 17 years, they were given a grade. Due to the fact that we are introducing new innovative technologies such as marker selection, a selection using molecular markers. This process is based on the fact that we examine in vitro potential of about 100 lines of grain that may be resistant to our target diseases. For breed crossing, we use wild sorts of wheat, because they are the carriers of resistance genes. Resistance genes, these genes protect the grain variety. If this gene is present in the genotype, then this variety will not be infected with the disease. The United Nations organization was established on October 24, 1945. In the foreseeable future, it is coming to celebrate its centenary. In this regard, Nursultan Nazarbayev proposed to develop a global strategic initiative until 2045. According to him, in the 21st century, the central task of mankind should be the implementation of the strategy for all to rid the world from the threat of wars as such and eliminating their causes. To this end, President of Kazakhstan proposed to the UN Centennial to develop a global strategic initiative 2045, the meaning of which is to give the world a new development trend based on fair conditions for access of all nations to the global infrastructure, resources and markets, as well as a general responsibility for the development of mankind. The immediate step to implement the Global Plan of Strategic Initiatives 2045 should be the development under aegis of the UN, the concept of New Future, which determines the tasks of the new stage in the development of mankind, 70 years after the creation of the United Nations. New Future is nuclear, energy, water and food security as well as trust, understanding and reforms. Everyone has the right to have a free access to clean drinking water, but the realization of this right is often hindered by the state because it is state who controls the water resources of the planet. Drinking water is not the task of the international organizations. I would say this is not even a national task, but the local one, that is, at every place at the local level representative of the government of the state must solve problems for their part of the population. It should be solved at every village, in every city by building the treatment plants, by building waterfall structures, by conducting explanatory work among the population, and so on. Food security, that is, the provision the population with quality and affordable food, is also in the hands of states. It is necessary to introduce new varieties of plants and new breeds of animals and be able to process animal and vegetable raw materials. What kind of specialists will ensure food security in Kazakhstan? Why Kazakh grain is in demand all over the world? Kazakhstan today is working on the issue of food security of the country. The state program of industrial innovative development should help the development of the manufacturing industry. The State Program of Industrial Innovative Development, or GPIIR, is designed for two 5-year periods, 2009 to 2014 and 2015 to 2019 years. By 2019, it is planned to achieve the growth of manufactured goods by 43% compared to 2012. Food service is included in the 6 priority areas of country's development and financing. During the first 5 years of the program, more than 900 Kazakhstani enterprises have already received the state support. They provided money for those businesses that have taken the initiative, that is, to build a new plant for processing of raw materials, or farm to improve the gene pool of animals, or a mini workshop, which also processes products of animal origin, milk processing, meat processing. Or those companies that used to be, they wanted to improve them, to use innovative technology for the processing of products of animal and vegetable origin. Through this program, the best breeds of meat and dairy were imported to Kazakhstan. New equipment for the processing has been installed in the workshops. In order companies can continue to improve their production, experts are needed. Their preparation is the problem of the current 5-year plan. To this end, the government has chosen 10 universities in the country, which are either national or public universities involved in preparation of specialists. Here, for example, our university, in the past year we had to prepare the food sector experts, so we have allocated a grant of 140 student places. Since our university is engaged in the production and processing of agricultural products, so we have 15 specializations. The university trains specialists in the field of processing animal products and certification of foods, grains, milk, meat, vegetables and fruits. The eco-friendly, organic Kazakh products have great potential not only in domestic but also in foreign markets, experts say, because of the unique natural conditions of the region and the introduction of international quality standards. Technical regulation is the most important document for the production of food, and in every enterprise should be implemented a quality management system that is called HACCP. Those who do not have the HACCP system certificate, they cannot receive the compliance standard. Earlier we spoke of product quality certification, and now we say the declaration of conformity. So the product must correspond to all the conditions of technical regulation. The plants, in particular the cereals, which are being grown in the region, should be zoned. That is, they should give a good harvest in the specific climate and natural conditions and be resistant to diseases, droughts and other adverse events. In Kazakhstan there is a problem with high salinity of the soil, so it is necessary to create varieties that will well grow right on these soils. The main directions of activity of the Institute is firstly the accelerated development of highly productive and stress-resistant varieties of food plants for food, technical and medical directions, and the creation of new forms and grades based on the combination of traditional breeding methods using biotechnological methods. The water security problem is acute for the whole Central Asia. The reason for this state of affairs lies in the irrational use of water resources in the past. Experts believe that the only sensible approach to the use of water today can help to improve the situation. We do have reserves, and Kazakhstan can provide its citizens with water, but again, due to what? Due to economical, reasonable and proper use of water resources. We must drastically reduce the water intensity of our economy and water intensity of our life. But even in ordinary life, if we use many times more water than other people, then we can say for both Kazakhstan and Central Asia in principle, we have a supply of water to feed 2 times more population. Resource-saving approaches to the water use, especially in agriculture, is one of the most important items necessary to maintain water security in the region. 45% of the world's population lives on the territories of transboundary water basins, including the whole population of Central Asia. That is, several countries have to share the water, glaciers, rivers and lakes. Therefore, the main task for Central Asia and Kazakhstan is to organize such a system of cooperation that will allow countries to get clean water for all. It is necessarily to have an agreement on the interests which the parties have in every country, since each state has its own interests, the top ones, such as to develop hydropower, the underlying ones, such as to develop agriculture and irrigation. States can find the keys to these issues, and it can be mutually beneficial to cooperate within the water problems on the water resources. That's why we need to, first of all, not to violate those rules which are in the first place. Complex issues are often being resolved at the local level. For example, Kazakhstan is a member of the International Fund for Saving the Aral Sea. This organization helps countries to negotiate on the issue of restoration of the Aral Sea. Greenbridge G Global Public Foundation is implementing a project on the introduction of water-saving technologies in Akmola and Kostanay regions. In the short term, the public fund is planning to introduce a joint coalition within the green economy and development of G Global water tanks. That is, there will be great items to collect rainwater. We will install them just at those people's houses who have already implemented water-saving technologies. This line will allow us to get away from the usual watering with fresh water. Kazakhstani scientists are also working on food security. The Institute of Biology and Plant Biotechnology is developing a variety of crops not only for Kazakhstan but also for the entire region. We have produced many varieties of crops, such as wheat and barley, which are of great importance for these varieties. Now many of them are being grown both in our country and abroad, particularly in Russia. They also produce such varieties. Naturally, these developments contribute greatly to the strengthening of the country's food security, because agriculture is very important to obtain and updated grades. To date, the employees of the Institute have received more than 60 innovative patents for invention, utility test modeling, and together with the Ministry of Agriculture agencies, it has been received about 50 new varieties of agricultural crops: wheat, barley, rice and beans. 14 of these species are already zoned. Kazakhstani Institute of Biology and Plant Biotechnology relies on the introduction of innovative technologies and the development and testing of varieties. Since the expansion and implementation of marker selection technology, it will reduce the selection process for 3 to 4 years and thus bring the economic efficiency of 30 to 40%. This will reduce not only the amount of time for the development of new varieties, but also the amount of manual work, which is one of the negative aspects associated with the breeding of wheat. Kazakhstan produces grain and is a main importer not only for the Central Asian republics. We also sell our grain to Uzbekistan, to Iran and to Turkey. Our high-quality seed is very popular. This year we received very good news that one of our common varieties, called Kazakhstan 75, has been zoned. That is, the state variety trials were successful and this variety can be zoned in the Almaty region. That is, there is the effect of our cooperation with industrial institutions, and our innovative technology marker selection is one bearing fruit.
Другое направление тоже перспективное.
Another trend promising for our lab is global warming, and some of these projects that we are going to serve will be worked out in this direction.
Будут направлены на то, чтобы